This is Janice with Needles and Fashion, and I'm giving a really quick tutorial on how to draft your own shorts. Now, the inspiration for this particular tutorial is these Plastic Island sequence shorts that I love and fits me very well. I wanted to create these shorts a little bit longer, but with the same style. And I made two variations of it so far, but I actually plan on making a whole lot more for the spring, which is these cotton print shorts. I didn't do the pocket on these, but I did do the pocket on these shorts, which I made the same exact way, but I put the side slit pockets here in the front, which is the same as these shorts here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need, of course, is your shorts that you would like to make your pattern from. And I went ahead and folded the shorts at this center seam, at the center fold. And I went ahead and folded it down so it can lay flat. Now, if this is the first time you're doing it, I would suggest that you pin them. As you can see, the back hangs a little bit lower. I'm going to cut this in 4 pieces that are exactly the same sizes, so it can make it very simple for you to duplicate. You're going to need pencil or some kind of marker. You're going to need a cutter. I'm going to use my rotary cutter here. And you're going to need a ruler, just in case you're not able to make your line straight. So the first thing I'm going to do is to trace the outline of these shorts. I'm just going to do it kind of free-handed here. I'm just going to trace all the way around, and I'm going with the same shape as the shorts, but I'm actually going to cut it out a little bit larger. Now, I'm going to make a insertion or a mark about 5/8 of an inch taller than the top of my shorts, not including the waistband. So I made that mark here so I know where to measure from there. And I'm going to straighten that line here. Now for the rest of the pattern, I'm going to come out about 1.5 inches. And I'm just going to go all the way around. You can do this anywhere from 5/8 of an inch to 1 inch or 1.5 inches to allow for your seams, your seam allowance. I'm going to come out all the way around my pattern. And I wanted to make these a little bit longer. So I'm going to come down about 1.5 inches here. I'm going to take my ruler. Straighten that line. As you see, it curves here. I'm going to draw that line all the way up and connect it again. I already have my seam allowance built in the top. So this second line here is the actual pattern for this particular shorts. Now, I'm going to measure out my drafting here. I see that we got 2 inches here. I'm just going to shorten that a little bit. I'm going to bring that down. And I'll straighten this line here in just a second. You don't want it to be too large. And I'm just going to bring that down to the length that I need. So when you're doing this and you're marking over and over again, you want to make sure that you definitely darken the line that you're going to use. I know which one I'm going to use, but sometimes practice makes perfect, and you want to make sure you can identify the one that you're going to actually use. So I'm just going to darken it a little bit. And straighten out my lines here. And you can do that with a ruler if you need to. And that's pretty much it. Now this has a dart in it, and that's the reason why I have a little more than 1.5 inches on this end. So the dart on these pants, I do a 5/8 of an inch dart on the front, and I do a 1/4 of an inch dart on the back. And I'll show you how to do those once we get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out this pattern. Okay, so now I have my first 2 pieces. Okay, so I have my first 2 pieces, and I'm going to actually duplicate that here. So I'm going to lay these 2 pieces down, or you could separate and do it with one. I'm going to place my pattern weights on it so it doesn't shift when I'm cutting. And I'm going to cut this pattern again. So you can see it. Okay, I'm just checking around here, make sure I got all my cuts in here. And I have my 4 pieces. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to work on the waistband. I'm going to use my pattern here at the fold because I want my waistband to have a fold. This particular waistband on these shorts have a 2-inch waistband, so I'm just going to go from there with a additional 1/4 inch for my seam. So I'm going to do 2 inches, and this is a 1/4 inch here. So I'm just going to mark that all the way up. Now you can measure your waistband, or you can do it with your shorts. So I measure this here, and I'm going to measure another 5/8 of an inch past that point, so I can have my seam allowance accounted for. Double check this measurement here. Now you can either cut this in 4 pieces, or you can fold it in half again, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take my fabric, put my hand here where the end of that is, and fold it. And I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to take my ruler and draw the rest of my 2 1/4 inch. And I'm going to cut that out. And this goes all the way just about to my half point. And I'll go ahead and cut that down to my half point. Fold that over. Make sure that it's even. And it is. And I'm going to go ahead and cut along the line that I drafted. Right, so I have my waistband, and I'm not going to actually sew the end. I'm going to serge the end of this after I press it down, and then I'll be done for right now with my waistband. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to cut off my scraps here. I have OCD with scraps. And I'm going to use one part of this for my pockets. I'm going to take 2 of my pattern pieces, and I'm going to cut out the pocket. Now you can really freestyle this with the way that I'm doing it, because that's actually how I did on my second pair of shorts. I took my curved ruler and I placed it on top of these 2 pieces here and just made a nice curve here. I'm going to mark it. I'm going to line my fabric perfectly and cut that out. And I'm going to keep this because this is going to be my guide for the second part of my pockets. Now I line this fabric up. I'm not going to use the entire thing, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to use this piece that I cut off as a guide here. And I'm just going to cut a basic shape for a pocket. It's not a real big science to this, but I'm going to make sure that I go past the point of my triangle that I cut out. So I have the first part of my pocket. And I'm going to take this again and cut another piece. That'll give me 4 pieces to use as my pockets. I'm going to align this with the edge. Put weights on it. And I'm going to cut that again. I am going to take my triangles that I cut again for my pockets. I'm going to place it on the corner of 2 of the pieces. And I am going to cut out that piece. So for the pockets, you have the back, which will be the new part of your side seam. And then you have the part that you're going to sew onto your front pieces. So now I'm pretty much ready to start sewing. I have my 2 front pieces here with the pocket cut out. And then I have my 2 back pieces here. Now my fabric is the same on both sides. If you're not doing that, then you need to make sure that the pieces that you're using are aligned correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to add these pieces to my pockets, and I'm going to use this as my let me turn this way. I'm going to use this as my front. And we're going to place those sides together. And we're going to sew these, sew a very small, probably about a little less than 1/4 of an inch seam here and here. I'm going to fold it over, and then we're going to add these back pieces here and align it with the rest of the pocket and with your side seams to create a new front piece for your garment. Before you sew this and the sides, you want to make sure again that you have your sides aligned correctly with the right sides up. And then once we do this, I'm going to serge my ends because this fabric will fray. If you don't have a serger, you want to make sure that you cut these edges with crinkling scissors. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'll be back with the results of these shorts. And I'm going to do the same with the back. I'm going to serge all pieces of the back and start my construction. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and I have my pockets attached. I have all of my edges serged on my front and my back piece. The next part here is to begin the attachment of the front and the back pieces and pin them. So you can take them to the sewing machine. So I'm going to put right sides together. I'm going to place a pin here. Keep that aligned for that piece, and I'm going to do it here for this piece. While I was at the serger, I went ahead and serged my waistband, so we have that here. And I'm going to sew only the inside seam for both pairs of shorts, both sides of the shorts. And then for one side, depending on where you want your zipper, I'm going to sew the side seam as well. So I'm going to, for this particular piece, I'm going to sew the center seam for the legs and the side seam here. Okay, so we're back and we have our front piece completed. And this one has the side seams already sewn. I'm going to turn that right side out here so you can see the finished product here. You see the pocket here in the front. And then I have my other side, which is only sewn at the center seam. What I'm going to do next is place this front piece that's completed on the inside of the incomplete piece. I'm going to align it at the center seam. I'm going to pin it. And I'm going to sew the crotch line here. Okay, so we have our crotch line sewn, and as you can see here, the shorts is beginning to come together. We have our side seam very secure here with a double stitch, 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. The next thing I'm going to do is to put in my darts. Now, if you want to know where to put your darts, the easiest way for me is to take starting with the back, my back piece, I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm folding it in half, keeping in mind that I already serged 5/8 of an inch, so I'm doing it right to the edge of the fabric there. I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to do a 1/4 inch dart here, 1/4 inch dart in the back, and I'm going to do a 5/8 of an inch dart in the fronts. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to attach the waistband. Okay, so I have my dart sewn. I have my 1/4 inch of a dart sewn in the back, and my 5/8 of an inch darts sewn in the front. So as you can see, when I turn my garment right size out, you can see my darts here in the front and my darts here in the back. So what I'm going to do now is attach my waistband. I have my waistband folded in half, which gives me my indicator of where my half point is. I'm going to start pinning that right sides together, starting on the side seam. I'm going to pin that there. And I'm going to go out every 9 inches or so and pin that. And pin that right on the edge. Now, if for some reason you're doing this and your waistband is not long enough, there's 2 things you can do. Either you can cut another waistband, or you can deepen one of your darts. I choose to work with the darts, because if that's my waistband I've already cut for my seam allowance, then maybe one of my darts is off somewhere. So you can just readjust your darts. That's how I came up with the 1/4 inch for the back and the 5/8 of an inch for the front, by trial and error. So as you can see, my waistband is perfectly sized for this particular garment. So I'm going to go ahead and sew on my waistband, and then we'll go on to the insertion of the zipper. Now, after I do this waistband, I'm going to go ahead and baste my side seams together so that I can baste the area for my zipper. And I'm going to go down, including the waistband, I'm going to go down 6 inches on my garment for the basting, and then I'm going to do a regular stitch for the remaining of the garment down to just before where the curve starts. Okay, so I have my waistband attached, and I had went ahead and basted stitch with a 5" millimeter stitch for my side seam so I can insert my zipper. Now you're going to need at least a 7" zipper to accomplish this. I have an extremely too long zipper that I'm going to be using. I'm going to place the top part of this zipper about an inch past the actual stopping point of the zipper. I'm just going to pin this here. This is an invisible zipper. You can actually accomplish this with the regular zipper as well. I'm just going to pin this here just to hold this place. I'm going to turn my fabric outward, and I'm just going to put just a couple more pins in here as placeholders. And I'm going to go ahead and attach this zipper, and I'm going to start from the top down to the bottom, and then I'm going to sew the other side, the bottom to the top. Okay, so I have my zipper attached here. I'm just going to cut off the bottom part of it here. And I'm going to open up my shorts. I'm going to find my seam ripper and open up this area here. And you can, with a 5 millimeter stitch, you can really just do it very easily like this. And it's going to naturally stop at that point in the 6 inches where I didn't want to expose any more zipper. And that's pretty much it there. I'm going to cut off those threads. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Find my seam ripper and clean that up. Cut off those little threads there. And I can open my zipper. And we're almost there. So we have our waistline attached. We have our seams together. We have our zipper attached. I'm going to fold the zipper over here and turn it over to give yourself a clean edge. And I'm going to sew this and do the same with the other side. And I'll be done with my zipper. Now all I got to do is hem the edges and then we'll pretty much be done. As you can see here, I've completed my zipper. And when you're doing this fold and stitch maneuver, it actually gives your zipper an actual stopping point instead of trying to create one on your own. And that's pretty much it. So I can open my zipper and close it without an issue. The last part of this is to go ahead and hem the bottom portion of the shorts. So I'm going to turn it inside out. I'm going to do a single hem starting at the side seam and folding over just about 1/4 of an inch hem and going all the way around the shorts. And that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you were able to see every portion of these pants. I look forward to giving more tutorials on needlesandfashion.blogspot.com. See you guys later.